episode 12, D4G.
Dive in. Dive in. Dive in. Dive in. Dive in. Dive in.
He's not a man. There's nothing more to say.
Dive in.
Yo, welcome back to the 12th edition of Diving for Glory. It's your host, Corciola, in the building, here to bring you that glorious feeling, man. Let's dive right into it. Sir Solomon was good.
What's up?
Yo, this week we got a special guest for y'all. It's our boy Jake from State Farm. Manchester. No, Lisbon or Milan. I don't fucking know, man. What's good, Jake?
What's up, boys? How you doing? You alright?
Good, man. Good, dude. This week, in honor of our guests, man, we'll be talking extensively about Man United, Catalonia sticking it to Madrid on the pitch again, the current form of the French giant Lyon, England's under-17 World Cup victory, and we'll be reminiscing on the Milan golden era with our guests. Man, my people, man, boots laced, jerseys tucked, let's go. All right, man, we're going to get right into it, man. Catalonia sticking it to the capital, this time on the pitch. Girona, mini city, our boy Per Guardiola.
Per.
Man, what do you think of this match, man? Fucking Girona.
Fucking loved it every fucking second.
Loved it, dude. Girona with the 2-1 win over
My
Madrid.
Girona.
Yeah.
Girona is the team that the Catalan president supports.
Yeah.
Who just declared independence.
The one that's in prison? Or
whatever. Yes, that guy. And also, Pep Guardiola's brother is an owner. And in addition to that, the first game after this fucking pandemonium, Franco's team comes to town and they beat the shit out of him.
Love it, dude.
It was beautiful.
And it was a legit win, dude. It wasn't like, two nice goals. They had a lot of shots on goal. Like Madrid didn't produce much. Even their goal was kind of, off just,
Dude, they
effort.
played 78, like Girona had 78% pass accuracy, which is higher than Manchester United had against Tottenham. They had, against Real Madrid, who had 84% passing and stuff. But like the Cruz, Casemiro, Modric midfield supporting Isco, if Isco's not absolutely balling, like Cruz and Modric are great to have, but are not going to be your creative hubs the way they needed to. And you could tell a lot of times in the midfield, they were like spaced weird. Right back is a problem. Achraf Hakimi has made his debut. Yeah, debut.
I felt like Ronaldo looked rusty too, man. Like he had some
Ronaldo
nice
has done nothing this season in La Liga.
Nope.
Like they've had a few games where they've gone like 6-0 or whatever in the Champions League and he's gone nuts, but like La Liga, he has yet to start the season.
Yep. The
You
only
haven't
goal...
seen the flying vagina celebration very much.
The flying vagina. I never thought of it like that. That's exactly what it is, man. Yeah, man, wonderful goals by Girona, man. The first one, they just worked them. There was a little bit of a lucky bounce.
If you told me before the game that an Uruguayan was going to shine, I would have thought it was going to be Suarez, not Girona's guy.
Yeah, for sure. 2-1 though, man. This means a lot for Madrid, man. This is their second loss of the season. This puts them 8 points back of Barcelona. In La Liga, man, that's just huge at any point in the season, man. You'll hear us continue to say that.
To be up on Madrid 8 points this early or at any point in any season is amazing. Like, over the past 10-12 years, the champion and second place have had very little difference. There's been goal difference championships, head to head, there's been so many tiebreakers, 1 point away, 2 points away.
Yep.
And now you're giving up 8.
Yep.
Just concentrate on Champions League this year.
Yeah, and they're struggling to find consistency, man, after back-to-back Champions League wins and La Liga win last year. Girona sitting 12th, 6 points clear of relegation.
After finishing second in the second division last year.
Yep.
But Stuani. You have to talk about that dude. He's fucking killer. The guy who scored the first goal.
First goal, yeah.
We have to give Isco a lot of credit because the Real Madrid goal that he fucking scored was a worker's goal. He ran the length of the field to make that shit happen and get that rebound. So big respect to Isco.
Yep. Man of the match, man. Who scored gave it to Isco actually with an 8.6. I'd also like to point out that Maffeo, the right back for Girona, a City loanee, also had an 8.6 and an assist on one of the goals. The kid is nice. The only City loanee to actually even play in that game.
That is interesting. And he played nice. I did not pay attention to him being the only City. Just found that out, and this is great. But I would give man of the match to Stuani.
Yeah.
He caused pandemonium in the back line. Like, that back four was never comfortable. Like, this kid was just like...
Girona could have had 2 more goals.
They outshot him 15-14. I mean, let's even say that's even, right?
Yeah.
But he took 15 shots against Real Madrid.
Yeah.
And they balled, man.
Yeah, they did.
Big respect. Jose Mourinho is afraid to take shots against Arsenal and Liverpool. These guys are fucking taking 15 shots against Real Madrid. Big up.
Yeah, straight up. Great win.
Second goal was offside, though.
It was. But damn, it was a nice finish.
That's so beautiful.
Nice back heel. It was. Let's move on, man. More Catalonia. The battle of the this secession areas. I don't know what the hell to call them, man. Bilbao, Barca, Valverde makes his return to his former club, ends in a 2-0 Barcelona win. But it didn't look as nice as the 2-0 Barcelona win would normally look like.
None of their 2-win Barcelona wins this year have looked at. It has been either Messi and own goal or Messi and Paulinho.
It was Messi and Paulinho this year, or this game.
Maybe next game it will be on goal and Paulinho.
Yeah. Hey man, the win is a win is a win.
No, the win is a win, and not to take anything away from the performance. Messi's goal, if it wasn't Messi, if any other player made that play, it would be so hyped up right now. It was a spectacular run. He did 2 1-2s before setting it off down the line to Jordi Alba, who cuts it back to him, and for him to just finish it. The whole run, the passing, the shooting, everything was of optimum accuracy.
Yeah, man. Ter Stegen had a few great saves early on. Bilbao did have a few chances for sure.
Remember how last week we talked about Ter Stegen and MTT being the guys that are stepping up these days?
Mm-hmm.
Again, MTT and Ter Stegen were doing their thing because Aduritz. They only hire guys that are born in the Bilbao area.
Yep.
Which is funny because they have this guy who's black.
Man, you know, Europe's changing. Gomez with the start. Just thought I'd mention that. And so for Barcelona, man, they're unbeaten in La Liga so far, man. 9 wins, 1 draw. And it just maintains a run of just less than impressive victories, man.
I completely agree with you. But you know, when you watch Barca, you came into football at around the early 2000s.
It's not fair.
And you like a certain level of intricacy, and this motherfucker has now got Barcelona in this day of intricate formation, playing a flat back 4-4-2 with Paulinho and Andre Gomez on the outside. So Messi's prime time, one of his teammates is going to be Andre Gomez. Historically, this is an aberration, and somebody needs to be held accountable for this.
Yeah.
You know, when you talk about Ronaldinho's teammates or anybody, you know, it's surrounded by great talent. This guy just needs to get benched and get sold and fill that position with a world-class player.
Yeah, I'm always at a loss when Barcelona seems to turn around and hire these guys who don't have the Barcelona philosophy, the Barcelona pedigree as far as coaching is concerned. And when they do, they win. When they do hire somebody that they win.
Yes, you're right. All the time they win when they think outside the used box. But this guy was the president is shit, and the people that are helping him run the club are shit. So they just want a guy that's happy to be on Barcelona's level. They're not going to hire the guy that wants to be the most dominant and has ambitions beyond that because they want a yes man.
Yeah.
And this guy didn't complain that their transfer dealings have been shit. He's fucking willingly playing Andre Gomez. Like, you telling me that doesn't have influence from somebody running the club? Like, there's no football reason to play him.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, it's true, man. It's true.
He's had one assist since he came into the team like 2 years ago.
Yeah. Man of the match here, man. I think this is a no-brainer. Lionel Messi with a 909 on who scored, and then even just run a play like he just did Messi things, man.
Yo, Messi things in Bilbao, like he scores at such a consistent rate against everybody that his record in the bigger Spanish games is overlooked. Like, he has a shitload of goals against Bilbao, Sevilla, Real Madrid. Always, like, he just punches out the result.
Yeah.
And we take Lionel Messi and his impact on football for granted.
Yeah, man, we're definitely gonna miss him, man. But enjoy him while you can. Man, I swear, man, everything we talk about has something to fucking do with Mourinho, or some link to Mourinho and Guardiola, man. So we're gonna move on to the next game, which is the first Manchester game of the day, which is West Brom Albionovich hosting. Did I just mix up the two fucking names?
Is West Brom like the Russian West Brom? West Brom Albionovich?
Albion.
Their sister.
West Bromwich Albion.
Yes. West Bromovich of Moscow.
Man, you know I get my enunciations mixed up sometimes. It's that whole foreign shit, man.
Anyway, West Brom.
Yeah, man. Hosting Manchester City, man, which ended up 3-2 Manchester. Manchester did what they do. But, there was a couple question marks.
Yeah, man. Your team came out the gates nice. They ball. The question mark now is the last. Like, the major project of Pep Guardiola is coming together really nicely. They're playing the kind of football we like to see. But they still have that Man City concentration issue.
Yes, they do. That's exactly what I have in my notes, man.
Oh, shit.
No, it's perfect.
I'm glad I went first then.
Yeah. No, that's perfect. Because, I mean, that's City, right? Like, it's like they just do shit so easy sometimes.
And put it in their back pocket so easily.
Yep.
And then,
we got this.
Yes.
We can coast. We got this. We just kick it around a few times. We're definitely going to get more opportunities. And then they gave up a quick one, which probably was offside, in my opinion. Jay Rodriguez with a nice...
I don't think so.
Man, that other guy, man, how about Rondon? Rondon ran right in front of this dude, like impacted the
Rondon!
defender. I know his name always makes it, but he ran right in front of the dude, man, and impacted the defender.
Because he told him how things
was
run down there.
But hey, man, he was offside.
Okay.
At the end of the day, so Jay Rodriguez was not offside, but they were like next to each other, so that's debatable. But I'll take it as a go. John Stones just chipped it right over his head, man. It was a nice finish. Ederson could have probably played back and not rushed out on that, but either way, man.
Ederson doesn't strike me as a person that does too much thinking. He
just
goes out there and just freestyles and sees what happens.
Yeah, it's been working.
And it works. But the
so
thing
far.
is, that middle of the field, through balls or up or through, like, over on the ground.
Yeah.
Those worry me for City. Like,
For sure.
yeah, like
Against a team with a lot of capability.
They have a soft center.
It's true, and they're thin, in the middle. I mean, like you guarantee that company's going to be out. If Otamendi and Stones, one of them gets injured, like who are you going to play there?
I mean, Otamendi acted like he was injured in his fucking brain. Fucking idiot.
So he almost let them back in the game at the end. Like he almost pulled a.
Yeah, he tried to Michael Antonio Jr.
Yeah, he tried to, man.
But the thing was, even before then, like the introduction of Raheem the Dream Sterling was actually, I don't really rate Raheem Sterling that highly, but it was necessary because they had Leroy Sané, KDB, Bernardo Silva, David Silva, and they wanted to pass it around the goal. David Silva, if he had a scoring touch, would be one of the most amazing players you've ever seen.
Yeah, you'd be talking Iniesta, you know?
I mean, Iniesta just has scored in big games, but he doesn't have much of a scoring touch either. I think 8 is his highest for a season.
For a season, yeah.
But Raheem coming on gave them some directness, and that helped. They seemingly put it away with the third goal after that. Fernandinho had a game, man. He's been quietly having a good season at 31.
Man, dude, he's the guy I almost fear losing the most. Like, he just, like, works that shit from the back and cleans up almost everything, and then he, like, attacks at the right moment.
Yeah.
Man.
I kid, you have Ilkay Gundogan coming back and working his way back in.
Absolutely.
And
but
that excites me because he gives us another look.
Totally.
Until about a couple of weeks ago, I'd have totally agreed with you on the Fernandinho thing.
But neither one of those guys, man, I'm sorry, neither one of those guys give the defensive intensity that Fernandinho does.
Agreed.
But yeah, Gundogan is nice. And those are nice options.
The game in a very, they're different, but he will fill the spot in his own way, is what I meant.
Yeah, no, absolutely. With all that being said, man, same things, like I said, City remain unbeaten, clear of United, 5 points. They're 8 up on Tottenham and 9 on Chelsea and Arsenal. That's pretty significant 10 games into the season.
Dude, City is having the best start to the season of all time, all of that shit.
Yeah.
And arguably their best purchase of the summer is not playing, right? Like Benjamin Mendy coming in at left back and creating the same kind of openings that Kyle Walker is doing at right back. Even though, not to knock him, Delph, who is looking better and better by the game, is never gonna bring what Mendy does. And this team is very scary. Like, I agree with you on the defense part, the injuries.
And that's the thing, man. Like Bendy adds this like offensive dimension, like that Delph and Walker don't really have, and that shit does get scary when you start thinking about that, man. Woo!
Yes.
Good to be a City fan. Good to be a City fan.
This is how it feels to be City. We've got Phil Jones. We got Kun Aguero.
Yeah.
He signed Phil Jones and we signed Kun Aguero.
Man, let's move on to the other side of Manchester. All right, so, man, United Tottenham, biggest game of the week in the Premier League. Game ended 1-0. It was beautiful. People, man. General opinions of the match.
I thought Everton-Leicester was the biggest game of the week.
I mean, if you're
for the two new managers, for sure.
You're into relegation too,
Fresh
start.
Man, tell us, Jake. Man, tell us about your opinions of the match, man. Let's go there.
I mean, I think that the summation of the match really was at the end of the first half. I don't know if you pay attention, but they sort of have a TV moment where they show the big highlight of the first half, and what happened on Saturday was literally just Dele Alli mouthing off to Ashley Young, and I think that pretty much summed up the first 45 minutes. The second 45 minutes were a little bit better. I think both teams came out with more purpose. Lukaku was a little bit more of a bulldog than he was in the first half. Hit the post with an absolute silly header. He's got he shouldn't be getting that header on the post.
The hang time on that.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. I thought the fact that Mourinho was tactical enough to bring on Anthony Martial for Marcus Rashford, despite the massive sort of protestations from the crowd, was pretty fantastic when you think about it. I was reading on the way over that apparently Anthony Martial has scored 4 goals as a substitute this season, which is an amazing return.
6 goals in 13.
Yeah. That's a really, really, really fantastic return from a striker who's mainly playing on the bench and who's definitely not considered to be part of the normal first starting 11 now that Rashford's come along.
And this is one of the biggest goals because a lot of the other goals he scored were like it was already 3.
Oh yeah, this is the most important goal he scored for us this season because he was playing against a tired defense and he's got the legs to be able to outpace Eric Dyer and Toby Alderweireld and stuff like that. Apparently, this is the first time that Manchester United have kept 5 consecutive clean sheets at home since 2007-2008, which I'm also pretty sure we won the league in. And when you think about that as well, we had Nemanja Vidic and Rio Ferdinand as a set centre-back pairing for those games. And we've been rotating centre-backs quite heavily with Phil Jones, Chris Smalling, Eric Bailly. I know Victor Lindelof hasn't really played that much, but it's a lot less stable and we're still getting clean sheets. So I think it's really down to Mourinho and to his tactical nose than anything.
I think Bailey's return had the team looking much more solid than they have recently. Smalling and Jones together as a 2 centre-back partnership, I don't think inspires enough confidence in me, but I get what Mourinho was doing when he did the 3 centre-backs with Young and Valencia on the outside. They claim it's a 3-4-1-1, but it's more like a 5-3-2. Mm-hmm. And because Jones and Smalling cannot cover that much space and stay focused for long enough, and Bailey being there was nice.
They kept Son under wraps as well, quite capably. I was also really impressed by Ashley Young. I think that this sort of inverted fullback role that he has is really fascinating, and it really works to his strengths well. He gets his tackles in well when he needs to. He still has most of his pace for a man his age, and he really got up and down the flanks, put in some really decent crosses.
Some newfound fights too.
And kicked off with Dele Alli when he needed to.
Said, "Call me when you win the league."
Yeah.
So I really felt like in the first half, man, that midfield in Manchester United, we're just missing, like, totally. And there was a lot of long balls, and so you saw a lot of Ashley Young and a lot of Valencia on the flanks, primarily being the the facilitators, if you want to call that. They didn't facilitate much, but. So what's your opinion of move tactics overall? It's very un-Manchester United like. He's very defensively capable, and he's groomed his team in that mold.
Well, here's the thing: Mourinho's a pragmatist when it comes to getting results. The Liverpool game 2 weeks ago, the whole game was just atrocious, and I was despondent the whole time. But then at the end, I was like, "Oh, you know what? We got a point away to Liverpool. That's a very decent result. You can't turn your nose up at that. I would much rather a point than us lose heavily." The Huddersfield match was obviously, we're going to sort of sweep that under the rug. That's a blip that always happens. But this is the first time I've watched United since Fergie retired that I've had a sort of sense of drive and hunger in the team, almost, because, again, I was reading on the way over here, apparently we've scored 10 goals in the last 10 minutes of our matches in the league, which is 43% of our goals have been scored in the last 10 minutes. And I think you all remember Fergie time very well. And that sort of the drive and hunger that Fergie's United teams always had was this idea that we're going to beat him in the last 10 minutes anyway. I mean, the amount of times that I was certain that we were going to score 1 or 2 or 3 late goals when Ferguson was managing that was lost under Moyes and Van Gaal. And I really do think that United now have this sort of ability to give that extra 10% in the last 10 or 15 minutes, which is a brilliant thing to be able to watch, especially when it's something that could win you the league.
Yeah, you knew about the formation and that it wasn't going to be that creative when, even though he doesn't have Pogba, he left Mata on the bench. He's like his creator out of midfield. So for what they were asked, Mkhitaryan, first of all, I don't think is a complete midfielder. He should be more of a wide forward. And everybody's complaining about his form when he's really playing out of position. If you look at a lot of his time,
I think he needs to be closer to the goal.
Yes. And he's very creative up there. He's not a runner. Like, it's like putting Mesut Ozil back into the midfield or something. Like, he's not going to go box to box for you. But I think he pulled off his tactics well. I would like to see Rashford get a little more respect from Mourinho, and sometimes take out Lukaku and move Rashford into the 9.
Yes.
He put in so much work lately that he deserves more time as a striker. And if Lukaku, it can't always be the guy that comes off.
I think that given Lukaku's form, despite his slight dip in form and not having scored in the last 4 or 5 games,
Or against big teams.
yeah, that's true. But I think that he has a proven goal scorer in Lukaku, and Rashford is unproven, and Mourinho's not a risk taker in that sense.
Absolutely. I agree.
He's not a youth. He's not a
I did
youth
not
facilitator.
expect that he would. I
Right.
just would like to see more of, if you look at the dynamism that Rashford is bringing,
Oh.
he deserves to show, just to show Lukaku, step your game up too in the big games, because you can get benched sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll all see what happens when Ibrahimovic comes back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, thought I'd throw that in there.
Ibracadabra.
Speaking of City, but either way, man, what are your thoughts going forward? Do you have real title hope here, man?
Honestly, I want us to finish in the top 3 this season. I want us to challenge to beat Manchester City. We're also looking at a Manchester City that have had the best start to any Premier League season of any club in the last 25 years. So it's important to bear in mind that were Manchester City not to be essentially unstoppable, we would also be up there top of the league. So, I mean, I would love it if we were to challenge for the title. I honestly think that Manchester City seem to be a beautifully oiled machine this season. But I also think that we have players that are capable of turning matches in Martial and Rashford and Lukaku. And when Pogba and Ibrahimovic come back, my God, we could steamroll some teams, which would be fantastic.
What do you think, Solomon?
I think they're definitely a contender. The gap between them and City, as with the rest of the league, is huge. I don't think that they're much better than the Chelseas and Tottenhams, but they're right there. I think Manchester United, Tottenham, and to a certain level Chelsea, once Conte comes back, are going to be the 3 following Manchester City, but City's going to run away with it. Just too much fire from every position. And if they're doing this with Ben Mendy out.
Yeah. So if that is the case, question to both of you is, are you confident in having Mourinho as the manager of this team for the next 2 or 3 years? Because you're gonna need to have some offensive new here, in my opinion.
I think that obviously we know Mourinho has a tendency to flit about between teams. But I think that he has always coveted the United job, and I think that now that he's made it to the United job, he may find himself staying a little bit longer than he stayed at Madrid or Inter Milan or Chelsea. I want him to stay. I've always been a fan of Mourinho, even when he was at Chelsea. My connection to Portugal, I've always really respected him because of his Portuguese roots. But I would love it if he stayed. I think that he's the man for the job, absolutely. I don't think there's anybody he has this arrogance and drive to him that a United manager should have, that Louis van Gaal and the always apologetic David Moyes never really truly seemed to have.
Louis van Gaal had too much of it.
Yes. Louis van Gaal was either too arrogant or too apologetic.
Sonny Corleone.
Yeah.
And David Moyes was just Fredo.
Oh man. Quick question. Last question about the match. Who scored had Chris Smalling as the man of the match. ESPN FC had Phil Jones in their team of the week. Who did you guys feel like was the man of the match here?
We can give it to Harry Kane?
I don't see much of a difference, even if he was playing, man. Right, I think Mourinho nailed this shit tactically, man.
I mean, they had 13 shots.
Yeah, no shots.
Four on target?
Spurs had no shots on target in the second half as well, which is important.
Yeah, not in the second half.
Yeah.
That Dele Alli one, if it was a through pass to Harry Kane, would have been a goal.
That would have been a goal.
But I want to give it to Eric Bailey. I think he had a very controlled, calm presence in the middle, and it's not a coincidence that Jones and Smalling look nicer when he's on the field.
I would also give it probably to Eric Bailly or Nemanja Matic as well. Again, Matic just always has this ability to just boss the midfield, and I have no idea why Chelsea let him go, and I'm absolutely delighted that he's playing for us.
Has there ever been a more Mourinho player than Nemanja Matic?
No, it's just classic.
I'd like to throw something out there. Under Herrera, man, he took fucking Eriksen totally out the game. Dude,
Right.
Eriksen was a ghost, and he like basically I do the whole fucking match.
Right.
Or like covered him, and like
Right.
they had nothing going on. At that one time he got free, he put that shit right on the money for Ali, and Ali did not deliver.
Right.
Yeah, but he also did it at his own expense, is why we can't make him man of the match, because his offensive production was also shit.
No, agreed. He had another job, but
Yeah,
agreed. I just wanted to point a little spotlight on him.
I want to bring the spotlight to a guy called Harry Winks, just because of his name.
You know something? I really enjoyed watching
He's a
Harry
fucking
Winks play.
player, actually.
He
I'm
is
just fucking with
he is an absolute manic
And-
player, and it's testament a lot as well to the fact that he got an England call up after only playing I think like 5 or 6 appearances, maybe 4 appearances for Spurs, and he got an England call up, which is mainly down to the fact that England lack a sort of free flowing creative midfielder.
All creative mids, number 8s basically have struggled for England.
Right,
so
exactly.
That's actually shows how good you are.
Right.
So last thing on this section, man. A huge game for United next week. United at Chelsea. They got rocked last year. What, 4-0, I think. What are your thoughts on this game? What do you expect to see from this game, Jake?
Same again. Mourinho pragmatism. Get 9-10 men behind the ball. Use Lukaku as a point man. They're going to play long balls. He doesn't want to lose. He wants to make sure that he maintains faces in front of his old fans. I really hate United playing long balls up to Lukaku. I don't think that Lukaku holds up the ball well. I think that in the
How
same
can you
way
hate that and like Mourinho?
well, I think in the same way that Marouane Fellaini has a Velcro chest, I think that Lukaku's chest is like bouncing a tennis ball off of a wall. But I mean,
Trampoline chest.
yeah, I think he's probably gonna stick true to his guns and do what he normally does, and make sure he doesn't lose rather than win. And you know what? I'll respect that. We're not going to win the league by winning away at Chelsea. We're going to win the league by winning away at Huddersfield and Watford and West Brom and all the teams that we need to be steamrolling that we were drawing against last season.
Scoreline?
Against Chelsea?
Yeah.
I'll give it 1-1.
Solomon?
I think I agree with him in terms of it's no secret that Mourinho's going to play everybody behind the ball. And what I don't understand is why kick it up to Lukaku? Why don't you kick a through ball and let him run through the ball? That was when he was so destructive in Everton. Remember? They get it through, and once you let him get into sprint is when he breaks off. So I don't understand the air balls. But I'm going to go for a Chelsea win. 1-0. I think Morata scores it. I don't think players of Hazard's caliber, like they did with Liverpool just missed a lot, but if they sit back that many times, there will be shots and one of them will go in. I don't think that this is, like you said, they're not going to win the league at Chelsea, but I don't think they're going to get that point either.
I just remember Ander Herrera man-marking Eden Hazard out of the match last season. So
Look for something similar.
he's definitely going to stick Herrera on Hazard.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. So
I
that's
like how Herrera goes playing forward, and Mourinho has just turned him into his John Obi Mikel, and like he's slowly killing his offensive drive and making him a great robot.
All right, man. That's our back four. That's all our matches. We're gonna move on to the midfield. Man, we're gonna touch on your time in Lisbon, your multiple Mourinho connections,
Yes.
Jake, and your beginning of your love affair with Manchester
6 degrees
United.
of Jose Mourinho.
Yeah, right.
Take that, Solomon.
So, you were, as I understand, in Portugal at a time of Manchester United's European like they were in the abyss of it, but like at the time you watched them, they captivated your heart. I wanted to hear some about that experience.
I lived in Portugal from 2001 to 2006, and I lived in Italy from 2006 to 2010. So I was in Portugal when Brazil won the World Cup in 2002. I was in Portugal when Brazil lost to Greece in the Euros, which I don't want to talk about right now. But I remember watching United Benfica in, what was it, I guess, 05-06 we said?
The 05-06 season.
In the 05-06 season, it was United Benfica, and we were playing at Old Trafford. I want to say Van Nistelrooy was up front. And I remember as like a 12-year-old kid or whatever it was, not really knowing anything about football. I'm American, you know. And I'm overseas, and I watched this Ryan Giggs character just cut in from the left and just like skin between a fullback and a winger. And I was like, what?
Has anybody had a longer prime of his career than Ryan Giggs?
His whole career was a prime.
From like 93 until 2013.
Yeah. And so I remember looking at Ryan Giggs and thinking, I can never not watch this. And then we of course crashed out, and we were atrocious in that season in the Champions League. We finished bottom of the group. We obviously didn't reach the knockout stages. I want to say finished third in the league as well. So it
was a time of transition.
It was
had
a
a young
exactly.
Cristiano Ronaldo playing at the time, and they were trying Scholes in the holding position before they got Carrick. So.
And then I started watching United, and I started watching Scholes, and I couldn't stop watching United from then.
Ginger fuck.
Ginger ninja, mate. But then I moved to Milan, and lo and behold, Mourinho makes an appearance, and he starts managing Inter. I went to high school, actually.
Come on, talk about the Shevchenko AC Milan first, man.
Shevchenko?
Let's not jump to Inter and Mourinho. Let's talk about some AC Milan.
All right. So
didn't they beat Liverpool a couple of years ago?
I was in, yeah, that's right. I was in Milan in, what was it, 2007 when they won the Champions League?
Yeah,
and,
revenge.
The city just exploded. It was incredible. It was very amazing. And then, I know you don't want to talk about Inter, but I was there as well in 2010. When they won the treble in that I mean, it was an incredible season. That was just the achievement of beating Barcelona in the semi-final, and really sort of hammering Bayern in the final. And let me tell you, like, I have not seen a party like Inter Milan winning the treble in Milan. It was just incredible.
Supposedly,
the entire city was just rocking.
Milan is very much an international city. Like, AC Milan is more supported outside of the country, but like inside Milan, it's inter-city.
I don't know. I've heard a lot of. I mean, you know, the idea that in Manchester City is the Manchester team, and Man United is the sort of foreign team, and
Trafford,
and Liverpool, you know, they're sort of two sort of disparate fan bases. But for the most part, actually, I think that Inter Milan and AC Milan have a very similar sort of demographic in terms of their appeal. Neither of them are seen as sort of a working man's team. They both have or had sort of upper class, middle class, and lower class following. There's not a sort
shared
of Real Madrid,
stadium.
Atletico Madrid dynamic in which the Real Madrid are the elite and Atletico Madrid are the, you know, the mattress players or whatever.
Matches makers.
Matches makers, exactly. Or the Barcelona Espanyol, where Barcelona, the Catalan team, Espanyol are the Spanish team. So I personally had friends that were AC Milan supporters and Inter supporters. I chose Fiorentina, actually, because I didn't want to make the choice between AC Milan and Inter Milan. I probably lead more AC Milan.
Yes, I'm all AC Milan out of Italy.
But yeah, I remember it was Gilardino, Luca Toni, Stefan Jovetic, Sebastian Frey was in goal at Fiorentina, and so I was like, "That's just brilliant." I love the kits and I love the players.
The
It was
'90s
terrific.
Fiore teams were spectacular. Batigol and Rui Costa, Portuguese. Like, those were amazing. You're talking about the Fiorentina team when they came back from relegation?
Yeah, it would have been the Fiorentina team a season or two after Calciopoli.
They were definitely so much fun. So, the Barca semifinal against Inter was what I wanted to just kind of get into a little bit. Did you watch both legs live?
I can't remember the first leg. I want to say I watched the second leg live. Yeah.
Nice. The first leg was the 3-1, and the second leg was back at the Inter leg, right? That's where the party kicks off.
First leg was 2-1.
Oh, it was
1 Inter.
2-1 Inter, and then I want to say they drew 1-1 at the new camp.
Oh.
We'll double check that. But yeah, for the sake of it, man, like my love affair with soccer begins at that point. I took a trip to Barcelona right at that time frame. I got tickets to the Espanyol Barcelona game at Espanyol.
Oh wow!
Which can you imagine was a 0-0 draw. But it was the week in between the Inter games, and we went to a just a little fucking like corner cafe deli or whatever and watched the second leg, and I've never seen so many shots on goal not go in. It was really depressing.
True. It was actually a 3-1 and 1-0 at home for Barca.
Okay.
Oh, was that
ended
it? Right.
aggregate 3-2.
Right.
Cool.
But I remember that game because that game. When Mourinho won at Porto, he won with a style that everybody thought was makeshift because Porto was a smaller team on the big stages. When he did it again at Inter in the Champions League, after not winning the Champions League with Chelsea and beating his arch nemesis Barca in one of the most contentious clash of styles, that's when it became official. Like, okay, this was not just a makeshift thing he was doing. Mourinho is the king of shutting shit down.
That it was.
And that matchup, that's what I wanted to get into. It was fucking crazy. And every big Mourinho win at those levels takes a lot of... Whether he wins or loses, there's going to be a lot of controverscy.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So we're going to wrap that up because we don't want to revisit that much more. Jake, man, we want to appreciate you. We want to thank you and say we appreciate you coming by.
Thank you so much, lads.
Welcome back anytime, man.
Yeah,
Much fun.
absolutely. We're going to talk about United thrashing Chelsea next weekend, okay?
Probably not, man. All right, man. We're going to get on with the next step.
Thank you so much, boys. Have a good night.
All right, you too, man. Thanks.
All right, we're going to change pace a little bit, and we're going to move on over to France and talk about one of the French giants that is seemingly experiencing a little bit of a resurgence this year. That would be Lyon, not Lion.
Lyonnais.
If you can speak French, this is not Lion. We ain't lying. The Lyon. Sir Solomon, tell us a little bit about the history, man. Tell us about Lyon.
They haven't been very lion lately, but Lyon is a funny team. They went from being provincial, like team that was not big in the scene of French football when Michel Platini and them were dominating with Saint-Etienne and then followed by Marseille and PSG was coming up. Until the 80s, Lyon was a second division team. A beautiful city, high income, whatever, all that shit. But then the team kind of sucked until this guy called Jean-Michel Aulas brought the team in 1987. He is the current co-owner, majority owner, and the chairman of the team. And he came up with an ambitious plan called OL Europe, which was a plan to invest in the youth program and also make purchases to strengthen Lyon and make them a European dominant team. This plan worked pretty much to perfection. The one criticism over him building the team up was that everybody complained that Ola just runs the team like a business and not a sporting franchise. Like they're a team who you can buy stocks to Lyon on the European stock exchange.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
Oh damn. Okay.
OLG is the trade.
Are there other teams like that?
Not a lot. Not that I know of. This is like newsworthy because it's not the norm.
Got you.
But anyways, in 2016, he sold 20. After bringing them back from the second division by investing in it in the 80s, they had their coach was Raymond Domenech, who later became coach of France until they had the famous walkout with Nicolas Anelka and them. And he took them and moved it as far as he could go, and then John Tigana came, ex of France legend, and he took them to second place. In the early 2000s, as Marseille had got relegated due to general corruption of Bernard Tapie, their that time general and their manager, the GM, whatever, Olympique Lyon is the team that filled that gap. They've only won the French league 7 times. But they won them 7 times in a row, from 2001 to 2008.
Damn, that's wow. That's almost unheard of, even across the whole 5 leagues, right?
So their history is one of largely irrelevance, followed by the most dominant period of history in any football nation, followed by kind of falling off again.
So, but am I right about that? Like, there's not many teams across any of the 5 leagues, the Big 5, that have done 7 in a row.
Yeah, not if at all. I don't know any of the Big 5. Maybe sometime before color TVs and stuff, but you know, it's huge. Like, I remember, and they were producing wicked players. Michael Essien came out of there. Karim Benzema, Hatem Ben Arfa,
Eric Abidal,
you know, Sidney Govou. Like they really invested in their youth system. So now everybody in France, at some point, the league and everything lost a lot of money due to the general worldwide recession, and Lyon became a selling club. So they were selling their players younger and younger and younger, you know, and they kind of fell off the scene a little bit. And now their youth players are coming up, but the big difference is that in 2016, Mr. Ola, the businessman, sold 20% of Lyon's ownership to a Chinese private equity firm for 100 million euros.
Seems
so
like
now
pennies.
he can sit at the big boys table, you know.
Half a Neymar. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's not looking for a Neymar. He's looking to buy like a bunch of youth players and develop them.
Do a Monaco.
Different. He wants to hold on to them a little longer and actually build a team.
Okay.
But so now he just sold Alexander Lacazette, but like the big thing about that is that they kept him until he was 25, almost 26.
Yeah, he was rumored to go to Arsenal every year for 3 or 4 years.
I wasn't sure if he was like Rosicky and just got injured, so we never saw him, because I assumed Arsenal had signed him.
True. So currently, man, how is it looking?
They used that 2016 money that they got, and he's been reinvesting a lot. And the team is looking like they're back. They sold, like I just said, Lacazette, but they have youth coming up, and they've been together a while. Excellent coaching.
Currently sitting at the table in 3rd, correct?
Currently in 3rd, Bruno Genesio, the manager. They finished last season in 4th, but like they were kind of a distant 4th. Dude, this team is not a small team. Their stadium holds close to 60,000 people. 59,000. No?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They look like they're creeping up off, if they're not creeping up on PSG, at the very least, they're way closer to Monaco, and the table shows it.
And they'll be looking at potential Champions League football, if so.
Yeah, they'll be a force to reckon with. Like, since they lost to PSG in the league, they 5 matches since undefeated. You know, they're only 3 points behind Monaco. They're coming together nicely for a young team that's not star focused. Mr. Memphis Depay is out there making his money.
M-Town. No doubt.
Not Memphis de Tennessee. Memphis Depay.
Funky Town. Take me to. So, anybody on this squad that should catch our eye? Maybe.
Yes. Very little.
Who you looking at?
Very little. The man that was born on the year, if I'm not mistaken. What year did Ready to Die come out?
It'd be 93. Maybe even 94.
No, 93. Nabil Fekir was born in that year.
Dang.
Yes, he's of Algerian descent, French kid. And he plays attacking midfield, mostly, like second striker kind of player. And ever since he got promoted to the first team in 2013, in July of 2013, he has been a revelation. Like Alexander Lacazette owes a lot of his transfer to this guy's assists, and his first full season on the team in Ligue 1, he got Ligue 1 Young Player of the Year 2014-15 season. He had 11 goals and 7 assists in 25 games.
Nice. Really nice, man.
But he's built on that. There have been a lot of players that are, Young Player of the Year and then disappear. But this guy's built on it this season. First of all, you just saw like those 2 goals he scored this weekend. He scored 2 goals in a 2-0 game. And in 5 matches, I'm sorry, not in 5 matches, but he has, in 10 matches, 9 goals and 4 assists off of only 32 shots. Whew. Like, this is, in terms of scoring, very much a one-man team. Everybody else is working with him and for him, but this is an amazing target man. Like, he's looking like a young Francesco Totti. Like, he can score from anywhere. He can play putting in the forward line on the right, left, or striker. You can play him behind striker. Very versatile kid. I don't know how long they'll be able to keep him.
Yeah, another crazy talent for that French national team, man. Whew.
Yes, I can't wait for the big blow up.
Oh man, nice, dude. That's interesting, man. I know a lot of people don't know much about Lyon.
Yeah, Nabil Fekir.
Yeah,
Look out for that name. You're gonna hear it a lot over the next few seasons. Excellent footballer.
Bunch of transfer rumors. We'll get tired of that.
Arsenal will almost sign him 2 times, 3 times.
Well, man, let's transfer on. Let's transfer on to the forward section.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. We're gonna do our awards of the week. Let's bring it on, man. Our dude of the week is
Gonzalo Higuain.
Gonzo.
Pipita.
What did he do this week, man? He had a couple nice ones.
He never scores in big games, but he scored 2 fucking amazing goals, both from outside the box, against AC Milan this weekend in a 2-0 game. He was all the offense Juventus needed, and those moves he was not giving them like in a place where he should have scored. Like, he made those moves and carried the team on his back, scoring wise. It was impressive. It was nice to give him a shout out at a time when it's a big game, because we always give him shit when it's a big game, because he's shit in big game.
Yeah, beautiful first touches on both those goals, and then just like smacked them home. It was nice. Really nice. The twat happened moment of the week goes to, and this is this is a really good one, man.
We traveled to London, and certain Michael Antonio
of West Ham.
Yes,
Slaven Bilic.
West Ham leading in injury time 2-1 due to Chicharito scoring a beauty. Dede Ayew like playing some end one football and just destroying people, breaking ankles and shooting from distance. Then Joe Hart's amazing heroic save. West Ham, they have a 2-1 lead. Just need to close this game out. Just need to knee.
Against bottom of the table, bottom of the table, Crystal Palace.
Yes. And this guy has broken down the line into the Crystal Palace half. Got beyond his defender that's marking him. He's trolling. He should go
he's
to
like jogging.
Yeah, he's like jogging around. He should just go to the corner flag and just stand, whatever.
Yeah, for another 45
He gets
seconds.
bored, so
He starts trotting near the
he
goal.
trots
right?
towards the goal. So at this point, I'm thinking, okay, still acceptable. He's gonna take a shot on goal. and finish this game off and make it 3-1. Okay. No. And then he produced to lob it towards the penalty spot where the only person there was a Crystal Palace defender, and he just chested it back to the goalkeeper, who started a fast break that ended the game at 2-2.
Yep, Zaha near the end finished it.
Wilfred!
It was
Where
amazing.
going, Wilfred?
It was amazing. I can't. Twat happened, man. Twat happened.
What happened indeed?
Oh man.
Michael Antonio happened.
Well, man, due to unforeseen circumstances, man, the Cash Shit Talking Award has now been renamed the Troy Deeney Award, and we're just gonna give this award to people who weekly, boss people, whether it be with their words or their hands.
Yes.
And this week it will go to Troy Deeney,
The founding father of this award. His Imperial Troy Deeney. First off, like a couple of weeks ago after they fucked up Arsenal, he was talking so much shit that we gave him the Cash Shit Talking Award. But he decided he didn't just want to talk.
No.
During Watford's loss against Stoke, he attempted to fold up Joe Allen and use him as a pocket square. Like, I didn't understand. He choked him out for like...
He went spree well, son.
Yeah,
he went spree well.
Actually, you're right. I stand corrected. He spree well the shit out of some Joe Allen, the Welsh Javi.
And in the course of that,
time, Joe Allen gives him so little challenge that he reached around him and knocked Ryan Shawcross to the ground. Ryan Shawcross is 6'4".
Yeah, Shawcross, big dude.
And at the same time, Joe Allen is still in his little G.I. Joe Kung Fu grip, can't breathe. That was beautiful.
Meanwhile, Deeney has a smirk similar to the Joker on his face while all this is going on.
Yes, I think he got a little chub.
Got a little Woody.
He got a little chub. He got a junior whopper.
Oh man, it's worth a look, man. Hopefully we can get that.
Dude, and then by the time he let him go, he just stood there, and Joe Allen was not trying because he just all right, take your chance now, and Joe Allen was done. That's all she wrote.
And we're done with that section, man. That's our awards for the week. Next, man, we're gonna give a little shout out here to the England under-17 squad for winning the under-17
England up your ass.
Yeah, World Cup winners under-17, man, and a 5-2 victory over Spain.
That sentence started off so promisingly. You're like World Cup winners and then under-17.
Under-17. But that's a good experience, man. They've won a World Cup. At least that generation of players has. And they were down 2-0. And won that game 5-2.
They did excellent. A lot of the youth development is happening in a lot of these small teams.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Brewster with a goal. That's the Liverpool kid, right?
Yes, ex of Chelsea actually.
Okay.
And Chelsea, I guess he didn't think he was going to get an opportunity, so he was transferred there. And he's actually looking really good. He might get a call up pretty faster than usual. And there were a few City guys there too, weren't there?
Fabulous Phil Foden with the brace. That kid is nice as hell, man. Pep is gonna. I think Pep's gonna call him up next year, man. I think he'll be the eventual replacement for David Silva.
It'd be nice to, since Pep is so hype about the Carabao Cup, if you'd play one or two of them every once in a while so we could see them.
You know, it's interesting. He actually commented on that and said that he would have called him up, but he wanted him to have that experience of being through the international competition and win. He won a World Cup. To that point, he wanted him to have that. He's like, man, I could play him at the Carabao Cup whenever. But yeah, good point. I believe Dortmund called up their under-17 guy to play for there in the DFK game for them.
Didn't he score?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Oh no, it's the youth kid, Eritrean Swedish kid that scored, Isaac Abraham.
Okay. But yeah, man, shout out England, man. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
5-2.
big shout, or actually since it's under 17, little shout England.
Little shout. All right, man, we're gonna move on to the upcoming games. We got a delectable delight of a Sunday for you in the Premier League, starting with Chelsea United. Actually, that's not the first game of the day, but that's a pretty big game.
It's a pretty big game is a pretty big understatement.
Pretty understatement, man. It's a very big game. It's away at Chelsea.
Huge.
Moo comes back to the spot where Conte stuck his fist in the air in celebration at a 4-0 last year.
Yes, Mourinho comes back home, I guess.
Yes.
But to the place where he went from being a good manager to a notorious manager.
2 times.
Yes.
If you're looking for exciting football here, though, you might want to. This might not be the game for you. We talked about it earlier.
Depending on your definition of exciting, because I like fights too. So there's a chance it might be exciting in that sense. But in terms of actual, free-flowing football, like neither coach is trying to get their team to flow nicely. Their game plans are starting from stop the other team.
Yeah. That should be interesting, man. You already gave us your prediction, 1-0 Chelsea.
Yes.
Could definitely see that. I definitely see them scoring over United. Just no creativity there, man. And I don't
think that 1-0 that they snatched was a fair result. I thought the 0-0 or 1-1 was good for United this weekend.
Yeah. No. I did too. I felt like that was a draw in my opinion.
Very flattering result.
We moved across town. Not actually across town. We moved up to Manchester in another big game. Manchester City, Arsenal at Manchester City. Seems to be the antithesis of the game we just mentioned.
Yes, this will probably be a high-scoring affair. And yeah, if you want to watch football, watch this game.
Yep.
If you can only watch one of these games, this is the game to see. If for nothing else, the City is one of the few teams that looks good when they fuck teams up.
Yeah.
Usually when it's a blowout, it gets boring. City,
Yeah. That should be good. Other big game in the Bundesliga, even though they've been looking pretty trash lately, Dortmund versus Bayern, away to Dortmund.
Dude, somebody got the cheat code to beat Dortmund, man. It's done.
Yeah.
They look like somebody just figured out Peter Bosch. So every game they score multiple goals, but they never win. Bayern Munich, since the man has come back and they got rid of Ancelotti, they're on a roll. They just brushed RB to the side 2 times over the past week, and I think they'll do the same to Dortmund. I anticipate probably 4-2 Bayern Munich.
Yeah, I don't think they've conceded since Yup has come back.
Yeah, not really.
Barca Sevilla, not in the form they have been over the past few years, but still sitting 5th place in La Liga.
I'm actually very excited about this game.
Okay, tell us why.
They're both very flawed teams, but Sevilla's strengths are usually what the kind of things that can undo Barcelona teams. They kind of play the same, except it's a watered down, less concentrated version of it.
Yeah.
But when their issues that they drop a lot of points, and their players and coaching staff and everything is not as professional as required. Whereas for the Barca game, they get up for it. And when they're up for it, they're a serious team to be contended with. And I think they will really test Barcelona, who have been winning a lot of games by playing ugly football. And let's see if the system is working or if it's just Messi team.
Okay. Absolutely. Tune in. Just for the sake of mentioning the big boys, Las Palmas away at Real. We'll see if Real can bounce back against the boys from the beach. And Angers, PSG away at Angers. Neymar returns. Very much to Cavani's non-delight.
Chagrin.
Chagrin.
Le
Thank you.
chagrin.
Thank you. La chagrin. Yeah, man. So that's the upcoming matches. All right, that's the match for the week, man. D4G, Diving for Glory, man. Thanks for tuning in this week. Diving for Glory posts every Tuesday. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Diving for Glory. That's FOR, hashtag Diving for Glory.
Thank you so much, Jake, for showing up. Thank you for listening.
Website, divingforglory.com. Check us out. We're on iTunes. Download us, tag us, like us, follow us, talk shit. Come on, please.
Send us comments, ask us questions.
Do that,
Got
man.
you.
Do that. We out.
Peace.
Diving. 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 Diving.
He's not a man. There's nothing more to say.
Diving.